The Romanovs were the last imperial dynasty to rule Russia, reigning from the early 17th century until the Russian Revolution of 1917. Their rule spanned over 3 centuries and profoundly influenced Russian history, culture, and politics. This comprehensive overview of the Romanovs will cover their rise to power, significant reigns, cultural contributions, the challenges they faced, and their ultimate downfall. The rise of the Romanovs. The Romanov dynasty began in the year 1612, following a period of political turmoil known as the Time of Troubles. This era was marked by social unrest, foreign invasion, and the struggle for the Russian throne. After the death of Tsar Ivan the Terrible in 1684, Russia experienced a succession crisis, leading to the eventual establishment of a new royal family. In 1612, a National Assembly, or Zemsky Sobor, elected Mikhail Romanov as the new Tsar. Mikhail was the son of a boyar noble family, and his selection was seen as a unifying choice to restore stability to Russia. Mikhail's reign marked the beginning of the Romanov dynasty, which would go on to rule Russia for over 300 years. Expansion and consolidation of power. Under Mikhail and his successors, the Romanovs worked to consolidate their power and expand the Russian Empire. The early years of their reign were characterized by efforts to strengthen the monarchy and restore the authority of the Tsar. Mikhail's son, Alexei Romanov, ascended the throne in 1633 and continued these efforts. Alexei implemented reforms to centralize the administration and reduce the power of the nobility. He also faced internal strife, including peasant uprisings, which were a response to heavy taxation and labor demands. Despite these challenges, Alexei managed to stabilize the empire and expand its territory through military campaigns, particularly in Siberia and the Far East. The Westernization of Russia, one of the most transformative reigns in Russian history, was that of Peter the Great, who ruled from 1696 until his death in 1737. Peter was determined to modernize and westernize Russia, believing that this was essential for the nation to compete with European powers. To achieve this goal, Peter implemented a series of sweeping reforms across various sectors, including the military, government, and economy. He reorganized the Russian army along European lines, established a navy, and sought to improve the country's infrastructure. Additionally, Peter promoted education and the sciences, inviting foreign experts to Russia to share their knowledge. Peter's most significant achievement was the founding of St. Petersburg in 1703. This new capital was built to reflect Peter's vision of a modern European city, complete with grand architecture and wide boulevards. St. Petersburg became a symbol of Peter's efforts to transform Russia and a center of culture and politics. The age of Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great, who ruled from 1762 to 18 Un, is often regarded as one of Russia's most influential rulers. She came to power after a coup that overthrew her husband, Peter III. Catherine was a savvy politician and a patron of the arts, and her reign is marked by significant territorial expansion and cultural flourishing. Catherine pursued a policy of territorial expansion, acquiring new lands through wars and diplomacy. Under her leadership, Russia expanded its influence in the Black Sea region and gained territories in Poland and the Crimea. Catherine's foreign policy was driven by her desire to make Russia a major European power. Catherine also focused on promoting education, arts, and culture. She established institutions such as the Smolny Institute for Noble Maidens, which was the first state-funded women's school in Europe. Catherine corresponded with prominent Enlightenment thinkers and sought to apply their ideas to her governance. Her reign is often seen as the height of the Russian Enlightenment. Challenges to Romanov rule. Despite the achievements of the Romanovs, their reign was not without challenges. The dynasty faced various crises, including economic difficulties, social unrest, and political opposition. The serfdom system, which bound peasants to the land and their landlords, became increasingly oppressive, leading to widespread discontent. The Decembrist uprising of 1825 was a significant moment in Russian history that challenged the Romanov authority. A group of army officers, influenced by Enlightenment ideals, revolted against the autocratic rule of Nicholas I, demanding constitutional reforms. The uprising was quickly suppressed, but it highlighted the growing desire for political change among certain segments of Russian society. In the following decades, the Romanovs continued to face opposition from revolutionary movements, including the populists and Marxists, who sought to dismantle the autocracy and establish a more democratic system. These movements gained momentum in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, leading to increasing social and political tensions. The impact of World War I. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 had a profound impact on Russia and the Romanov dynasty. Initially, there was a surge of patriotism and support for the war effort. However, as the war dragged on, the situation deteriorated. Russia suffered heavy casualties, and the economy was strained by the demands of the conflict. Tsar Nicholas II, who had ascended the throne in 1904, took personal command of the Russian military in 1914. This decision proved disastrous, as military defeats and logistical failures undermined public confidence in the monarchy. The hardships of war, combined with food shortages and economic instability, fueled widespread discontent among the population. The disillusionment with the Romanovs intensified as the war continued. The royal family became increasingly isolated, and rumors of the influence of Grigory Rasputin, a mystic and advisor to the Tsarina, further damaged their reputation. Many viewed Rasputin as a corrupting force, and his involvement in political affairs was seen as a sign of the monarchy's decline. The Russian Revolution. By 1917, the situation in Russia had become untenable. In February of that year, mass protests erupted in Petrograd, formerly St. Petersburg, over food shortages and the hardships of war. Strikes and demonstrations quickly escalated, leading to the abdication of Tsar Nicholas II on March 2nd. The abdication marked the end of 300 years of Romanov rule. A provisional government was established, but it struggled to maintain order and address the demands of the population. The Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, capitalized on the unrest and called for a radical transformation of Russian society. In October 1917, the Bolsheviks staged a coup, seizing control of the government. The Romanovs were placed under house arrest and relocated to Siberia. In July 1918, the former Tsar and his family were executed by Bolshevik forces in Yekaterinburg. The brutal end of the Romanovs symbolized the complete collapse of the imperial system and the beginning of a new era in Russian history. The legacy of the Romanovs. The legacy of the Romanov dynasty is complex and multifaceted. Their rule left a profound impact on Russia, shaping its political, cultural, and social landscape. The Romanovs are often remembered for their contributions to the modernization of Russia, particularly during the reigns of Peter the Great and Catherine the Great. Culturally, the Romanovs patronized the arts, literature, and education, leaving a lasting imprint on Russian culture. Their reign saw the flourishing of literature, music, and the visual arts, with notable figures such as Leo Tolstoy, Fyodor Dostoevsky, and Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky emerging during this period. However, the Romanovs are also remembered for their autocratic rule, which contributed to widespread social inequality and unrest. The oppressive nature of serfdom and the inability to adapt to the changing political landscape ultimately led to their downfall. The Romanov dynasty remains a significant chapter in Russian history, symbolizing both the grandeur and the tragedy of imperial rule. Their rise and fall illustrate the complexities of governance and the challenges faced by monarchies in an increasingly modern world. The legacy of the Romanovs continues to be explored in literature, film, and historical scholarship, reflecting the enduring fascination with their story and its implications for the future of Russia.